Hey, Glovelies, and welcome back to Glove Actually. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Melissa.
And this week, we are closing in on the 2026 MLB trade deadline. So, Melissa and I are going to do a bit of yapping. We're going to yap about our hopes. We're going to yap about our dreams. And most importantly, we're going to yap about our fears because there are a lot of them. We are very anxious. But as always, if there's anything you want us to talk about here on the podcast, be sure to leave it in the comments and be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the Glove Actually podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to turn on those post notifications to stay in the loop when we post new episodes every Wednesday. All right, Glovelies, we are going to kick things off as always with our Pookies of the week. Melissa, who's your Pookie of the week this week?
This week, I have two Pookies. They are Samuel Basayo and Dean Kramer. They are my Pookies this week because, personal story, my husband took my son to Family Sunday this past Sunday. And as some of you may know, there's sometimes the players will be out there signing balls. They'll pick a couple of players or a couple of coaches to sign balls. Basayo and Kramer were out there doing it this time. And my son, the rule is you can only have one thing signed. And we knew this, but my son really wanted to take my daughter's baseball with him so that he could get her baseball signed. We was going to have one ball signed by one player, the other ball signed by the other player. When my son went through the line, Dean tried to sign both balls, but the Orioles staff that was there kind of pushed my son along. And then when my son got to Basayo refused to let my son leave until he had signed both balls, which I thought was super cool. He did the gesture for my son to hand over the second ball, and he would not let my son go. So it was super cute. I love that they are catering to the fans, even despite the policies that the Orioles have set. And thanks guys. I really appreciate it. You made my son's day and you made my daughter's day. She's on her way to a sweet murderer's row ball.
I love it. I mean, I know that the staff probably has to establish the policy and maintain the policy, because if they see one person doing two things, then they're going to let everybody do two things. And then it becomes three things, and then it gets out of hand. But honestly, shout out to your son for wanting to do such a nice thing for his sister.
Aww,
That's
you.
so sweet.
Yeah, that's how he is. He's always thinking of his sister. It's so cute.
That's so nice. I love it. Oh,
thanks.
Yeah.
Who's your Pookie of the week?
My Pookie this week. So I just got back from a very eventful weekend in Tampa at Tropicana Field. I watched the Tampa Bay Rays sweep the Cleveland Guardians. So shout out to our friend Shane, who was on the divisional roundtable representing the Guardians. He's actually, him and his wife Caitlin are my friends that I actually went to the games with, but they had to watch the Guardians lose 3 in a row. However, I was very pleased because not only did the Rays win, not only did I get to see Raymond, not only did I get 2 sweet giveaways, not only did I get to meet a bunch of our creator friends, including Brooke the Motivator and Baseball Casual, and I also ran into Elijah. My soul left my body. So my Pookie this week is Brian Baker, returning Pookie. Yeah, I love him.
If any of you do not already follow Glove Actually on TikTok, you should, because Courtney posted some classic videos of Brian Baker entering the mound. Her excitement is palpable, guys. I mean, the screaming.
I took that video as he was walking out. So the Rays do this really cool thing where they lower all the lights in the stadium and they tell all the fans to put the flashlight up on their phone. So it's like a sea of lights. It's kind of like a sea of lighters if you were at a rock concert in the 80s. It's a sea of these really bright lights. And Brian Baker's walkout song is Levels by Avicii, which first of all is one of my favorite songs of all time. They also have this amazing light show that they do on the roof of the Trop. And they have this really sick intro video for Brian Baker, all the promo shots of him as he is walking out. Oh my God. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
This past weekend, he also had the added bonus of your very enthusiastic cheers.
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row.
Actually, so fun fact, on Saturday, I was like just watching the bullpen bench because I was trying to see if he was like suited up, and I saw his like knee-high socks, and I was like, there he is. And then as soon as I saw him start warming up, I was like, okay, here we go. And then he came out, and then I like blacked out, and that's when I took that video, and the one that's on TikTok. And then the next day, we were seated in section 124, which is actually along the first baseline. We were probably about 10 rows off the field, and just to our right was the bullpen. So we had a really, really good vantage point for seeing where the bullpen like warm up is.
I love that.
So about fourth inning, I see Brian Baker stretching on the ground, and I'm like slapping Shane and Caitlin on the arm. I'm like, look, it's Brian Baker. He's stretching. And then eighth inning, he's like, he's warming up and he's pitching, and I'm like slapping him on the arm, and I was like, look, he's warming up. And then during the day game, the intro doesn't hit as hard because it's not dark. So when they turn the lights down, you still get the daylight from the ceiling. But oh my God, wow. Magic
happened in that stadium.
Crazy weekend. Yeah, it was amazing. And we had so much fun.
I'm glad you had so much fun. It's actually funny. I think on Sunday when you sent the video, I was in the middle of talking to Joe, Batch Bro Joe. And he said to me, he's like, I think he saw that Brian had just gone in, and he's like, I bet you Courtney's going crazy. I was like, I have the video proof. She's losing her shit.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. 100% was losing my shit. It was amazing. And yeah, Brian Baker picked up his 28th save on the season on Sunday.
Wow.
So
good for you, Brian Baker.
Shout out B-Bakes. Love you, Pookie.
Yeah, we love you. Miss you.
So once again, Brian Baker, you are my Pookie this week. And Glovelies, we want to hear from you. Who is your Pookie of the week this week? Be sure to let us know in the comments and tag your Pookie if you can. All right. Well, before we get into all the trade deadline talk, we do have a couple of trades that have already happened. But before we get into that, I would like to give you, Glovelies, a very encouraging update on something that we talked about previously on Glove Actually. So a few weeks ago, as part of my Who Do I Hope Has Fun this week, I mentioned A's prospect Ryan Lasko. And Ryan Lasko unfortunately collided in a really weird way with one of his teammates in the outfield trying to catch a fly ball, and was completely motionless after he fell to the ground and was rushed to the hospital. He had to have emergency spinal surgery. And after the spinal surgery, we got this really heartbreaking news that he could not feel anything basically like below the waist, which like is an athlete's worst nightmare. One thing that I did want to update you guys about, according to Ryan Lasko via his Instagram story, his spinal surgery went well. He still had some swelling in his back and doesn't have any feeling in his lower back. In addition to that, via his Instagram story, he said, just wanted to give a quick update. I'm currently feeling much better. I have sensation from my feet up to my knees, along with a lot of involuntary leg movements. I also have been getting sensation in the side of my thighs, hamstrings, and back. I currently have about 75% usage of my left hand and 50% in my right. I'm very happy with my progress, and once again, so thankful for all the love and support. It has continued to help me get up every day and work my hardest. And I was extremely happy when I saw that. I know that those types of injuries can literally change someone's life in the blink of an eye. Again, it's an athlete's worst nightmare. I'm encouraged by the fact that he's doing so well, and continuing to pray for him and his family, and of course his care team as well. But yes, just wanted to give you, Glovelies, an update on Ryan Lasko. Get well soon. We love you here at Glove Actually.
Yes, we love baseball miracles, and that's definitely a baseball miracle.
Definitely, for sure. So getting into some of the trade deadline stuff, there have been some trades that have already happened. So Aaron Savale was with the Cubs last season. He was with the A's this year. He got DFA'd by the A's, and he got traded back to the Cubs. So the A's,
why am I here yet?
Pretty much. So the A's now have a minor league prospect named Aiden Moffett, who's, I believe, also a pitching prospect. And then, the Orioles had Jonathan Rodriguez. Had an amazing game after he got called up in Baltimore and then got DFA'd the next day because the Baltimore Orioles are playing round robin with some of these people.
It's like musical chairs over here is what we're doing.
And then what happened, Melissa? Where did he get sold to?
He got sold to the Pirates for cash.
Yep.
Have you seen him yet?
I don't think so. I know that we just brought up a few people. We just brought Password back up, and we just brought back up Noah Murdoch, who's been the 27th man at a lot of our doubleheader days. I also follow Noah Murdoch because he on social media he's a big card collector, and he's trying to collect his own cards, which I think is extremely funny.
It is very funny. It's very funny.
But most notably, a trade that's already happened, the Nationals have absolutely fleeced the Boston Red Sox. Now, on paper, this deal does not really necessarily look like the Red Sox got fleeced, but the Red Sox got fleeced after left-handed pitcher Connolly Early was traded to the Nationals in exchange for Curtis Mead, who got immediately hit by a pitch and broke his wrist on his first at-bat with the Boston Red Sox.
Yes.
Which is, again, worst nightmare. That's like a nightmare scenario.
Oh, it really is. Like, you think that you made a great trade, that you're going to get somewhere, and then the player that you traded for immediately out. Like, what? That's some bad luck right there. That's some Curse of the Bambino shit right there is what that is.
All right. Well, Glovelies, we are going to dive into our top 5 of the week. So this week, our top 5 is actually 5 different categories. And we are going to pick the top trade that we want to see or don't want to see happening in each category. So this is being recorded a few days prior to the trade deadline, and it's going to air a couple days after the trade deadline. So let's hope these conversations age well.
Oh my God, I'm so stressed.
Watch one of these is going to have aged like milk by tomorrow.
Probably, actually, because that's what happens with us. There's always like something the next day that just makes it fail.
So I want to start with, which teams do you think are going to be the biggest sellers at the deadline?
Okay. I feel like we all have a pretty good idea that the Mets are going to be big sellers. They're not hiding it. They're like, fire sale, come and get our players. These are the only ones we're keeping. Everyone else is up for grabs. I mean, I think we know that the Mets are going to be just doling out players like pancakes. I think the Royals might be sellers. I think the Angels might be sellers. And I was thinking the Giants might be sellers too. I mean, they're all teams that are not doing that great. They're probably going to be ones that are not necessarily rebuild, but they're looking to add new pieces to try and improve their record in the next couple of months. So,
I think for the teams that aren't necessarily doing well right now, I think there's 2 priorities. I think, how can we leverage ourselves to be in a position where we can strategically trade in the off season, especially with so many players hitting free agency? Or how do we capitalize on what we have that works? And how do we embellish and what we have in a way that's cohesive?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm right there with you. I also think the Mets are going to be huge sellers. Again, that's not really a secret. I do agree with you that the Royals are probably going to be big sellers. I think that there's a couple keystone players like Bobby Witt Jr. Salvi's probably sticking around. Salvi is a Royal for life. I would be shocked if anything happened to Salvi, just being completely honest with you. I think maybe the Cardinals, as far as an NL Central team that I've heard the Reds are probably going to try and sell a little bit, but I think the Cardinals are probably going to try and switch some pieces, but I don't necessarily think it's we've resigned ourselves to not being in the postseason sell. I think it's the sell the pieces that we have that we can leverage in interesting ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Hey,
then,
Cardinals, if you would like to give us Ramon Urias back, I mean, that wouldn't suck.
the other
Hmm.
team that I think is definitely still going to sell, I think the Twins are definitely going to sell. I know that Joe Ryan's been in the conversation. I know Ryan Jeffers has been in the conversation. So
We'll
that's
see.
true. So on the flip side of that, which teams do you think are going to be the top buying teams?
I picked teams that are doing well because I'm guessing they're
Okay.
going to need like one or two missing pieces to push themselves right to the off season or into the postseason. So I did pick the Yankees. I picked the Rays. Obviously, they're up towards the top of the list. I picked Boston because I feel like Boston right now they're making a run that's very promising.
Mhm.
And I feel like, and obviously they've already started to make moves. So they're not wasting any time. So if they're already buying people, or at least seeking people, I would imagine they are going to do more in the next week. I also put the Braves and the Nats on that list too. I feel like the Nats are doing a lot better this year than they were, and I think they
absolutely.
have a pretty good chance to go or into the postseason, and they want to get there, and they want the pieces that they need to get there. And again, they're obviously already making trades too, and they got the better end of that deal. So
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think?
Definitely agreeing with the Rays and the Yankees. I don't necessarily know that Boston is going to be making some of the headline moves that some of these other teams are going to be making. I do definitely think that they are going to make some moves. Like they already tried to get Curtis Mead. They tried. But I think the Pirates are also probably going to spend a little bit of money during the trade deadline. I think that they are in need of some bullpen help. They could probably benefit from another like strong starter. In my opinion, I think the infield and the outfield, there is a pretty good mix of guys right now that are getting the job done. And I really think that the team that they have has some good chemistry. So I feel like there's only a couple pieces that are missing, but I think comparatively to other seasons, they're going to look like a top buying team this year. The other team that I think is going to buy big is the White Sox.
I would not disagree with that. Also, I think they want to go balls to the wall and just, hey, let's take advantage of where we are right now and take it all away. So,
yep.
I feel like everybody needs bullpen help though. There's only so many pieces.
100%. Speaking of bullpen help, I've heard that the Chicago White Sox are one of the teams that are pretty aggressively pursuing Mason Miller out of San Diego. It wouldn't necessarily be out of the question. Anything is possible. To kind of move a little bit further into some actual trades and players that are going to be on the block, what is a trade that no matter what, you don't want to happen?
Feel like anyone who knows me at all knows the one trade that I do not want to happen. I do not want Adley Rutschman to go anywhere. I literally had a dream about it last night.
Oh my God.
That's how much the trade deadline is starting to consume my mind. It is stressing me out.
That was me last year when Ryan O'Hearn was talking about Ryan O'Hearn getting traded. And
I know.
I couldn't think about anything else. And then it happened and then it was over and we are where we are now.
And that was my dream. Like my dream was my husband told me that Adley got traded. And in my dream, I said to him, I don't care what team he's playing for. If it's the Yankees, I'm a fan of that team now. And then I woke up and I was like, Melissa, you will never be a Yankees fan. No,
that's how you know it's a nightmare.
No. However, I will be following Adley's career no matter where he goes, but I would love for him to stay.
Well, speaking of the Yankees, the trade that I do not want to happen, I was just talking about him a minute ago. I do not want to see Mason Miller go to the Yankees. I also don't want him to go to the Dodgers, but I don't think he will go to the Dodgers. I think if there was any like big market team that he would be semi-successfully courted by, it would be the Yankees, but I don't think he would want to go to the Yankees, but also I don't want him to go to the Yankees.
No,
I would take him just about anywhere else. I would love to see him in Pittsburgh. I would love to see him with the Chicago White Sox, I don't necessarily think Tampa Bay needs him because they already have a closer.
Yeah, they got a sweet closer. We're good to go.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think out of all the teams, I really just don't want to see him go to the Yankees. That might just be my anti-Yankee bias, but that's how I feel.
I just want to say I don't feel like the Yankees or the Dodgers should get to participate in the trade deadline at all. You've got what you got.
Know what? You're so right.
Yeah. I feel like if you have a certain record going into the trade deadline, no, you don't get to trade. I'm sorry. You're
doing well with the players that you have. Exactly.
Yes.
You don't get anyone else.
Give the rest of us a chance to catch up, okay?
Yes. It's like a reverse buy.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, man. All right. Well, on the other half of that equation, what's the trade that you really do want to see happen?
So I was thinking about this. Speaking of building up somebody's bullpen, I was thinking I want a pitcher for the Orioles. I was kind of going through the list of pitchers that, are probably going to be available. I think I would like to see Joe Ryan come over to Baltimore. Okay. I feel like that's a deal where we're not going to have to give up too much. Not as much as if, say, Skubal came over to Baltimore. And I mean, he pitched against us at that first game of the year. He's a damn good pitcher. I would be happy with that. So that's kind of the one that I was thinking of. That's the pitcher I would like to see come over to Baltimore.
I was also thinking I would like to see Baltimore get a decent starter. So here's what I will say. I know he's been producing lately in the last 6 or so weeks, but the Orioles have historically, since he's been with us, have not had much luck or success with Tyler O'Neill. I think if the Orioles are going to take any opportunity to unload Tyler O'Neill,
this is it.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that his bat would be useful in San Francisco, and San Francisco does happen to have a couple of arms that I think we could use. I would like to see Robbie Ray. I feel like Robbie Ray or maybe even Logan Webb would be a good culture fit.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to our friend Katie, who's a Giants fan. I'm stealing some of your starting pitching. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, show wealth. Tyler O'Neill, and maybe it's different in the locker room, but I kind of feel like he's just the odd man out in that dugout when you see him with everybody.
Yeah, he just kind of gives off a different vibe than a lot of the other guys. And I think that you do have a point. I think, and we've spoken ad nauseum about clubhouse culture is important, and the way that the team gels as a whole is important.
Stats are not everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, going back to Adley, what happens when you have one good coworker leave, the one that you really love to work with? I think we all know what that situation looks like too. That's the beginning of a mass exodus. Yeah. So why would you trade somebody who is such a core member of your team that really helps, honestly, the glue that brings people together? And I'm not saying it's not just Adley, it's Adley, Cowser, Gunner, that Holiday, that friend group. I feel like that's like the center of the spider web that everybody just kind of just branches off of.
The Scott Boras boys.
Yeah.
All right. Last and probably the biggest kind of elephant in the room as far as the trade deadline is concerned. Where do you think Tarik Skubal is going to land? Because if everything is to be believed, today he just threw his last start as a Detroit Tiger.
I'm gonna probably upset you a little bit, but I think Atlanta. I'm gonna throw Atlanta out there.
Whoa.
I know. Sorry. You know what I did notice about Atlanta this weekend though when we played them? I know you hate them, but they have a bunch of good-looking guys. Their players.
I choose not to acknowledge. Have I ever lore dropped why I don't like the Braves on the podcast?
Honestly, I don't really like them either, and I have a feeling it's the same reason. You can lore drop it, but I have a feeling mine's the same reason, very similar, but they're hot.
Okay,
go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna lore drop. Okay, so Glovelies, back in 2023, I started dating this guy, and this guy was an Atlanta Braves fan. And this guy, long story short, TLDR, completely broke my heart. And he is the worst person that is walking planet Earth right now. in my opinion. And he is an Atlanta Braves fan.
Yeah.
And I personally have sworn to hate the Atlanta Braves because when the Atlanta Braves lose, it's like he's losing because I know he's paying attention to them. And it's the same with the Falcons. If the Falcons are losing, then he's losing. And that makes me happy because I hate him.
Yes. And you know what? That's fair because that's pretty much a reason why I hate the Braves too. One of my college boyfriends was a Braves fan, and he was a miserable human being too.
Yeah.
Who kind of got his jollies by making me feel stupid. So I get that. I get that.
Ew. I'll fight him.
Yeah, it's all right.
Ugh.
It's all right. I got out of that. I get that. And I struggled with that a little bit myself, but I was watching Atlanta play this weekend and I was like, damn, they have some good looking guys on their team.
I am making an effort to know things about the Braves and specifically the players. And I think if I focus on the individual players themselves rather than the fact that they play for the Atlanta Braves, it helps.
It does.
So if I think about Ozzy Albies, I can think about his fish collection. I don't have to think about the fact that he plays for my least favorite baseball team.
Yes. And I thought about you every time he came up to bat this weekend. I was like, oh, Ozzy Albies. Courtney loves you.
Yes. Yeah, my former Pookie.
So funny.
I love it.
Where do you think Scooble's going to land?
So personally for me, and I know that we've talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I've been thinking about where I would like him to land and where I can realistically see him landing.
Mm-hmm.
I can realistically see him landing in LA, and LA has been upfront about the fact that they are presenting a trade package that is going to be very hard for him to turn down. Do I want him to land there? Abso-freaking-lutely not. I think he would be better suited, and it would be probable that a somewhat smaller club that's not used to spending a whole lot of money, but is still doing well this season, should and will land him. So I have him going to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Okay. I could live with that.
That's just me personally. That's something I would like to see. And it's something that I do find realistic.
And yeah, that's fine. I'm totally okay with the Brewers. You go there. Yeah. You go over to that league over there. Mm-hmm. Stay away from us. Please see previous note about LA should not be allowed to participate in any sort of trades until
I agree.
After the season's over.
I don't want to see Tarek Skubal go to New York. I don't want to see him go to Los Angeles. I would like to see him go to a smaller, a smaller club where he can still shine and be the superstar that he is, but also fill out a well-rounded pitching rotation.
Yeah.
And same with Mason Miller. I don't want to see him go to LA. I don't want to see him go to New York. I want to see him go to a smaller market team where he can continue to stand out and be a superstar and help a team get to that next level. All right, Glovelies. Well, we want to hear from you. Who do you want to see traded at the deadline? Who do you not want to see traded at the deadline? Where do you think Scooble's going to land? Let us know in the comments. And again, this is going to air a couple days after the trade deadline. So some of these predictions may have aged like milk. So after you see how these predictions have aged, please let us know what you think in the comments.
Yes.
All right, Glovelies. Now, before we wrap things up, we are going to leave you with some recommended media for this week, brought to you by our very own No Regrets reader. Take it away, Melissa.
All right. So this week, I'm taking us back to books, and I'm going to give you guys a book by Meagan Brandy, another book by Meagan Brandy. I recommended Say You Swear way back in season 1. And this is another one of her books that I love. It is called Dirty Curve. Yeah, that's what it's called. So for this book, Tobias Cruz is Avix University's star pitcher, and he's rumored to be the #1 pick in the upcoming MLB draft. So he's known for his nasty curveball, but he's also a little bit of a bad boy. And right now he's struggling with his position on the team because his grades suck. So his coach pairs him with a tutor named Meyer, and initial interactions with her, he is attracted to her and she wants None of it. But you can tell she's kind of attracted to him. She just is not interested in going on any dates with him, spending any extra time with him, and it frustrates the hell out of him. But the more time he spends with her, the more infatuated he becomes with her. And especially when he learns why Meyer refuses to date him. So like I mentioned, the book is called Dirty Curve. This is one of the reasons why I love the name of the book, because you don't really know until you get to the end really why it's called Dirty Curve. At first, you're like, ooh, this is going to be a dirty book. Then you read it and you're like, oh, it's referring to Tobias's curveball, and that's why. The more you get into it, because at first you're going to hate Tobias. He's a little bit of a dick. I'm not going to lie. He's very self-centered. He's entitled. It's very frustrating at first, but then his personality kind of makes a complete 180. So you're like, oh, maybe Dirty Curve refers to his attitude and his personality. I will say this though, friends, there are 2 twists in this book. And I do think that the name of the book kind of goes back to the name Dirty Curve. The first twist, I think you might be able to figure out and see coming, but the second twist, you are not going to see it coming. It's gonna come out of nowhere, and you're going to be like, holy hell, what just happened? So tropes for this one, you got a bad boy who's misunderstood, and he's a very possessive MMC. Forced proximity, because you got the student-tutor relationship. Meyer is a single mom, so you have the single mom trope there. That's not a huge spoiler. You're going to figure that out right away. You got he falls first, rivals to lovers, and like I said, you've got the twists. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Sadly, based on the name, it is not as spicy as you would think. It is 3 chili peppers, not the 4 or 5 that you would expect going into the book. However, like I said, those twists make it worth it. So highly recommend, give it a try.
All right. Dirty Curve. All right, Melissa. Well, if our listeners want to talk about this recommendation or make recommendations of their own, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at no_regrets_reader.
All right. Well, Glovelies, that's going to do it for this episode of Glove Actually. Thank you so much for listening. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the Glove Actually podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to turn on those post notifications to stay in the loop when we post new episodes every Wednesday. All right, Melissa, what are we looking forward to most this week in the world of baseball? Who do you hope has fun this week?
Well, Courtney, I hope you have fun this week because it is your birthday this week. So I hope you have a fabulous day. And hey, Ryan O'Hearn, if you're out there and you're listening, why don't you give our girl Courtney a happy birthday message?
That would be very nice. I would really like that. He did comment on my latest Instagram post. So that was very nice and unexpected. So thank you very much, Ryan O'Hearn. I love that for me.
Give her a shout out. Give her a shout out. And I also hope, like we said, this will air after the trade deadline. So I hope everyone that got traded, I hope you have a good week this week. And I hope none of you are Adley veterans. Thank you.
I love it.
Courtney, who do you hope has fun this week?
Well, as you mentioned, this episode will be airing on my birthday, like on my actual birthday. So I hope I have fun this week. And I hope all of the players who are in the process of being traded have fun this week. And also, I hope all the families of the players who are traded also have fun, because picking up your lives and figuring out how to move your husbands, boyfriends, family members across the country or to a new city is very challenging. And a lot of times all of that falls on the shoulders of either the wives, girlfriends, or family members of the player that's being traded. So I hope they have fun this week, and I hope it's not too taxing on all of you. So there's that.
Amen to that. That's a really good point. And it also happens right before the school year starts too. So
which is crazy.
Come on, man. Consider the poor kids that are getting shifted around if they needed to be shifted around to different schools.
All right. Well, this has been Glove Actually. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Melissa.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great week, Glovelies. And as always, be kind, keep it cute, and stay glovely.